This is Mac OS Ken.
A busy day for the Hube, talk of more iPhone production in India, and whether the Google privacy labels. It's Thursday, the 21st of January, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macosken. This show is also sponsored by Mint Mobile, cutting your wireless bill to as little as $15 a month. With my old carrier, I had to pay extra to turn my iPhone into a hotspot. Oh, I was already paying for the data, but they thought using the data for which I had already paid on another device meant I should pay more. True story. Last night my internet went down, but I still had stuff to look up for this show. So I went to Wi-Fi on my Mac, found the hotspot I had set up on my iPhone, and looked up the information I needed for you lovely, lovely people. Didn't cost me anything extra, just pulled against the data for which I had already paid, which, by the way, is so much less expensive. I have paid less for a full year with Mint Mobile than I'd pay for 3 months with my old carrier. Every Mint Mobile plan comes with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And it comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Try it out. Make sure it works as well for you as it does for me. If you're not completely satisfied, return it within 7 days for a full refund. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/macosken. That's MINT, mintmobile.com/macosken. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/macosken. Wednesday was a busy day for Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty. Over at Apple 3.0, Philip Elmer DeWitt had 2 notes from the Hube land on his desk. The first predicts phenomenal growth for the Mac this quarter, with an asterisk, while the second ends with a higher price target for Apple shares. We'll start with the first one since she did. Computers are all the rage right now, in ways that surprise even Huberty. She cites recent numbers from industry tracker IDC that show PC shipments at 91.6 million units last quarter. That represents growth of 26% year over year and beats her firm's own expectations by 10%. While 26% is significant, it is not the phenomenal growth to which I was referring. According to her note, Huberty predicts 90% PC growth for the current quarter, though you kind of have to ball up such comparisons and toss them out. For the March quarter of 2020, we had just come off the holidays. While there was starting to be concern about coronavirus, the collective we didn't actually stop going to the office until the middle of March. Even if we had all gone out and bought computers that day, most of the quarter would have been spent not spending on laptops and desktops. Hence my saying you can ball up that 90% comparison and toss it out, or put an asterisk beside it at the very least. But enough about now. Let's talk about last quarter and iPhone. Huberty says she and hers continue to believe that iPhone will outperform expectations in the December quarter, as the mix shift to higher-end iPhone 12 models is a tailwind to ASPs and revenue growth. iPhone 12 Pro lead times remain extended far beyond any model launched in the past 4 years at 10 days. She is also stoked for iPhone's performance in China. While purchases there are skewing to the lower-end SKUs, growth is going gangbusters. Huberty estimates that iPhone shipments grew about 47% year over year in the December quarter, based on numbers from the China Academy for Information and Communications Technology. Then there are hints in the supply chain. Choosing to not heed Tim Cook's advice, her note says results from Apple's Taiwan supply chain point to a 3rd consecutive month of accelerating year-over-year revenue growth to over 20% year-over-year, and a third consecutive month of stronger than seasonal growth, suggesting solid momentum as we head into the March quarter. That note ended with an overweight rating on Apple's shares. Her price target on the shares was $144. Then she got really excited. Taking a peek at the Morgan Stanley analyst's second note of the day, our recent conversations suggest investors expect Apple to release solid but not great December quarter results. We disagree and believe that Apple is likely to report all-time record quarterly revenue and earnings. Huberty and friends are expecting double-digit year-over-year growth for all 5 revenue segments in the December quarter. That's iPhone, Mac, iPad, the wearables, home, and accessories category, and finally, services. Overall, says her note, our December quarter revenue of $108.2 billion is 5% above consensus. We are ahead of consensus in every segment but services, while our earnings per share of $1.50 is 7% above consensus. Plus, there is more to come. iPhone will keep going gangbusters in her estimation. She's looking for 220 million iPhones shipped for fiscal year 2021. That's 2% above the street's expectations. With such great expectations, how could she not up her price target? Maintaining her overweight rating on Apple shares, she used her afternoon note to raise her price target on Apple from $144 to $152. She also listed a bear case of $77 and a bull case of $200. Hard to imagine a case so bad that Apple drops to $77 anytime soon. Probably not a world in which we want to live. Hey, in case you've lost count, Morgan Stanley's Apple target is the 4th to go higher in the past week or so. I told you yesterday of price target adjustments from Barclays, RBC, and Loop Capital. You can probably expect a few more of those between now and next Wednesday. That's when Apple is scheduled to release revenue for the December quarter, aka the first quarter of fiscal year 2021, aka the holiday quarter. The company may go a bit crazy and offer guidance as well, though that one's iffy. The company actually pulled March quarter 2020 guidance off the table as the pandemic set in. While it has offered thoughts on successive quarters, predicting numbers hasn't been its thing since last spring. While it's not offering predictions, Apple Insider has a rundown of things that'll contribute to the Cupertino Company's quarterly report, starting with a bunch of things. The December quarter saw the release of Apple Watch Series 6, Apple Watch SE, a new iPad, a new iPad Air, HomePod Mini, 2 new M1 laptops, and an M1 Mac Mini. While AirPods Max also saw release last quarter, that came so late and was in such short supply that Apple Insider can't see that making much of a ripple. While that's a lot of stuff, Apple Insider figures it'll still be the iPhone show. With so much spent on apps between Christmas and New Year, and with Apple having spent years spending the services story, you gotta figure that the services segment will clock a few minutes as well. No shortage of ways to keep up with what happens. Earnings will be released after the bell next Wednesday, the 27th of January. That'll be followed by an earnings call with analysts and Apple executives. Apple will stream that call on its site. It'll also make it available as a podcast. Twitters will tweet. Bloggers will blog. We'll have a preliminary look on that day's macOS Can Live and go more in-depth on Thursday's macOS Can. Despite recent worries with Wistron, iPhone in India looks full steam ahead. A piece from Apple Insider says Pegatron, another contract manufacturer with which Apple partners, is upping its production game on the subcontinent. According to the piece, Pegatron has leased 500,000 square feet near Chennai, India, as part of its plan to establish iPhone manufacturing operations in the region. While Pegatron hasn't said the sites for making iPhones, local government officials say the site will be used for Apple-related stuff. Previously, Apple Insider says Pegatron laid out plans to spend about $150 million in setting up iPhone manufacturing facilities in that area. So if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, and somebody said they were planning on bringing a bunch of ducks to the region to build iPhones, I got a little lost there, but you get the idea. As for which iPhones Pegatron will build, that's tougher to pin down. Thus far, says the piece, the manufacturing of iPhones in India has focused on lower cost or older models. In August of 2020, Apple was said to be planning production of iPhone 12 models locally in India by 2021. Foxconn is said to be manufacturing iPhone 11 in the new plant's region already. If I were a betting man, I'd say iPhone 11 production shifts to Pegatron, with Foxconn picking up the iPhone 12 for that area. If I were a betting man, which I'm not. More news in a moment, but first a word from Headspace. Meditation made simple. It's tough to imagine a more stressful year than 2020. What if this year you had something to help you be less stressed and handle the ups and downs that are still likely on the way? That's Headspace. I've told you that I'm working the Basics program. I'm doing that because despite having tried a couple of meditation apps over the years, I don't know what I'm doing. Here is what Dora, the teacher that I've chosen, said in the meditation I did yesterday. There is no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right way to breathe, and there's no right way to think. We're simply creating a greater awareness of how we breathe and how we think, and it begins by just being. Every meditation app I've ever tried has left me feeling dumb, like I didn't know what I was doing, because I didn't know what I was doing. And it turns out that's okay. And no meditation app I've tried before has let me know that. Not before Headspace. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSKen. That's headspace.com/macOSKen for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSKen today. Hey, remember a couple of weeks ago when Google said it would probably submit privacy labels for its iOS app to Apple's App Store later that week or maybe the following week? Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. And yet you're apparently still not cleared to know what info Google is siphoning off you. Let us revisit. It was 2 weeks ago today that I brought you a TechCrunch story that seemed to be trying to allay concerns about the lack of labels. Those are the privacy labels, likened to nutrition labels that Apple's requiring of developers who have apps in the App Store. Here's the thing, though. Apple is not actually requiring the labels to keep apps in the App Store, but if a developer wants to update their apps, that update has to be accompanied by a privacy nutrition label thing. Those rules were supposed to go into effect on the 8th of December, 2020. And yet that TechCrunch piece said 2 Google apps had been updated, one on the 14th of December and another on the 15th of December, neither of which came with privacy labels. Coming so soon after the deadline, people thought maybe Google submitted before the 8th, and it just took that long to process. Yeah, okay, except for the part where, according to TechCrunch, a Google spokesperson confirmed the company has a plan to add privacy labels across its app catalog. They also confirmed the labels are expected to begin rolling out as soon as this week, which was week before last, or next week, which was last week, though an exact date is not yet available. No kidding, we're on the 3rd week. And as Mac Rumors points out, there's still no sign of privacy labels for most Google iOS apps. If it makes you feel better, they also haven't updated any of the rest of their iOS apps. since the 7th of December. According to Mac Rumors, the Google Translate, Google Authenticator, Motion Stills, Google Play Movies, and Google Classroom apps do include privacy labels, even though they have not been updated recently. But Google Search app, Google Maps, Chrome, Waze, YouTube, Google Drive, Google Photos, Google Home, Gmail, Google Docs, Google Assistant, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, Google Slides. Google gets to be a really strange word when you say it over and over again. Google One, Google Earth, YouTube Music, Hangouts, Google Tasks, Google Meet, Google Pay, Photoscan, Google Voice, Google News, Gboard, Google Podcasts, and more do not display the information. I'm sure they'll get to it. And finally today, a note of support from Apple CEO Tim Cook for the new administration. Probably you've heard, the U.S. inaugurated a new president and vice president on Wednesday. According to a piece from The Verge, hours after taking his oath of office on Wednesday, President Joe Biden signed several executive orders overturning actions taken by the Trump administration regarding immigration, and tech is rallying behind the move. Not only did the president sign orders extending the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program and overturning the Trump administration's travel bans on largely Muslim-majority countries, there is other stuff on the way. And all of that has a number of tech companies and the leaders who lead them stoked. Companies and execs showing support include Google, Twitter, and Apple. In a statement on Wednesday, Apple CEO Tim Cook said, "We welcome President Biden's commitment to pursuing comprehensive immigration reform that reflects the American values of justice, fairness, and dignity. This effort will strengthen American communities and the pathways to opportunity this country has long fostered. In the weeks and months to come, business leaders look forward to working with the administration, as well as Democrats and Republicans in Congress, to achieve bipartisan, practical, and comprehensive solutions to fix our broken immigration system, including a permanent solution for dreamers that includes a path to citizenship." Hey, have you had a chance to listen yet to macOS Can Live? That's a thing I do Monday through Friday, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KenRay. Here's the thing, you don't have to be there live to hear it. You don't even have to go to YouTube. I make it available as an audio podcast for you and people just like you. Look for the show, macOS Can Live, wherever you get podcasts. And thanks. macOS Can, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Mint Mobile. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/macOSCan. This show is also sponsored by Headspace, meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Can. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.